Here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of The Good Brothers. I'm Alex, that's Mike. We are The Good Brothers, the bestest brothers. We are your middlemen from New York to LA. We are the representation of Chicago. Sadly, folks, say hi to the folks, Mike.
Hi, folks. Mike, good brother. How are you doing today?
I'm good, doing much better than the cast and crew of Mission Impossible 7.
Yeah, no kidding. We have a lot of drama to get into today. Tom Cruise is in the news, good brother, and we're going to break that down. We also found out some major mic drops from Disney. We got to talk about Mandalorian. We have some predictions to make and so much more. But before we get into all that, good brother, it broke overnight, and it has made the rounds all along the pop culture podcast community, as well as the entertainment community when it comes to major broadcasting. The one and only Tom Cruise has a big outburst, an anger outburst, some are saying, an inappropriate, or some are saying appropriate outburst when it comes to his cast and crew, more along the crew of Mission Impossible. This comes to us from our friends over at The Verge. So, good brother, before we discuss it, I think it's important to listen to the entire clip. It's about 2 minutes long, and then we'll give our reactions, talk about it, because it is the most newsworthy thing that has hit
So fast, too.
Yeah, and it really hard opposed to actual movie news.
Yeah.
This has become that. So why don't we go ahead and take a listen to this is Tom Cruise on the set of Mission Impossible when he sees some crew members not obeying the COVID-19 protocols.
For the multiple time.
We are the gold standard. You're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us. Because they believe in us and what we're doing. I'm on the phone with every studio at night. Insurance companies. Producers. And they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs, you I don't ever want to see it again. Ever. And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone. And anyone on this crew does it. That's it. And you too, and you too, and you. Don't you ever do it again. That's it. No apologies. You can tell it to the people that are losing their homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on their table or pay for their college education. That's what I sleep with every night. In the future of this industry. So I'm sorry, I'm beyond your apologies. I have told you, and now I want it. And if you don't do it, you're out. We are not shutting this movie down. Is it understood? If I see it again, you're gone. And so are you. So you're going to cost him his job. And I see it on the set, you're gone. And you're gone. That's it. Am I clear? Do you understand what I want? Do you understand the responsibility that you have? Because I will deal with your reason. And if you can't be reasonable, and I can't deal with your logic, you're fired. That's it. That is it. I trust you guys to be here. That's it. That's it, guys.
So that was Tom Cruise on the set of Mission Impossible. And as the good brother was saying, apparently there are reports coming out that this isn't the first time that he's had to warn these specific crew members. And I'm going to start off with you, good brother. I have a lot of thoughts about it. I think you and I are on the same page. Maybe we're coming at it from different directions. But I'm very interested to hear where you're coming from as a coach as somebody who's a pundit in this industry, as somebody who also is just a decent human being, when you hear something like this, where do your emotions go? Where does your critical thinking go? How do you feel about this entire situation that has come up over the last 24 hours?
I think us being the middlemen, I think it's easy we should explain that these positions are very low paid positions in a very expensive place to live. So that being said, I think this is the first time you and me completely agree on he was completely in the right. It's a very human reaction. I think we've said many times the time for leniency was in March. If someone forgot their mask, if someone just didn't truly understand, I think in March had this come out, it's an inappropriate response. We're in December. There is no more hiding from this. Like, it is what it is. And if you still don't understand that after multiple times, that's bliss. I don't care if it's blissful ignorance. It's ignorance. And he's correct. That's thousands of jobs. Like, there are thousands of people in LA that are living in one-bedroom apartments for way too much money, getting paid as much as a McDonald's worker is, doing a lot of hard work and a lot of hard hours just to make a name for themselves. And you can relate to that as someone in radio. It is not an inappropriate answer. It's a human answer. He didn't fire them. He could have fired them. He yelled at them. Hopefully they learned their lesson, because obviously a side conversation didn't work the first time. So this is a natural response. You could hear him at the end just being like, oh, do you understand what, like, if you have a reason, tell me. And if it's reasonable, we can talk about it. Like, he even says it. But if it's not, I'm just going to fire you. He doesn't have to say that. He could have just fired them. It's Tom Cruise.
So here's the thing. This is a scenario where people are going to bring up the Christian Bale thing. This is totally different. This isn't somebody or the O'Reilly thing. This isn't somebody who got frustrated because they can't do their part or that they're messing up. This is something where the leader of the group, who has the most investment in this, where everybody, the pressure is on him, not only to deliver on the screen, behind the screen, in the box office, in the marketing. This is the dude that has all the pressure. You can talk all the crap.
He's the last samurai. He's the last movie star.
And you can talk all the crap you want about what him and his Scientology. Look, hey, we do a show, Murder Mysteries and More. We make fun of things like that. We also break it down, and we have an open idea about how people are complicated.
He's still right.
So at the end of it, he is right in this scenario. I do want to bring up something that Ava DuVernay brought up, where even though he was correct, there would be this double standard of if Ava had done it.
Oh, yeah.
And it is totally true. Look, the one thing we gotta address, and I think it's both a good and a bad thing. He did use his clout to try to get something done. And nobody's going to question him. Mm-hmm. Should Ava DuVernay have the same respect, not only from the industry, but her crew? And absolutely. Deborah Chow, Patty Jenkins, go down the freaking list. Yeah. That's just the women directors. I'm talking about every director, too.
Barry Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins.
No, but I'm saying like Barry Jenkins also.
Oh, yes. So, great example. Great example. So, to me, when you're sitting here and you have that position of power, it means something. Mm-hmm. He wasn't sitting there saying, I need this freaking movie to be made, so you're going to sit there. I don't care if you have COVID. Yeah. You're going to sit there and stay behind that camera. He's saying, dudes, if we don't get our act right, you're all gone.
It's like this. If I said, Mike, you need to wear a tie to work every day, and you don't wear it the first day, and I'm like, hey, bud, wear a tie next time. You still don't wear it the second day. Hey, Mike, can we have a meeting real quick? You really got to put on that tie. Like, at this point, by the third time, there is no more side conversations. There is no more whispering. Like I say, he didn't have to do this. He could have just fired them, and this is not news, and people would have just lost their jobs.
Now, does this also exist? This is why I think this nuanced conversation. Is it true? Are people treated like crap on movie sets?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're treated a lot of jobs you're treated like crap.
But this is that doesn't make it wrong for what he said. No. He didn't grab anybody by the neck and shake him around and physically. First of all, he's 5'4". He's not going to do that. But it's also this idea of like, you can't. I saw the one and only RG3 bring it up, and he brought an interesting thing. He's like, he doesn't agree. Whoever goes with Tom Cruise obviously doesn't understand the business and that. All this stuff, I'm like, I get it. But let me tell you something. I heard the great John Campea say, and a lot of people disagree with him. I disagree with him a lot. People need to grow up in every job. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I hate the argument when people make it sports. Well, if I did this in my job, I get fired. There's a difference between being a quarterback and throwing 3 interceptions and then telling somebody they should get. That's not the equivalent.
Exactly.
The equivalent is if your boss told you to do something and you keep doing it wrong and you cost people money.
Multiple times.
And you cost people money, real money.
In a COVID year.
You're lucky if you don't get fired.
Lucky.
In the real world, where we're from, in Chicago, the Midwest, the entire country, not just the West Coast. I know some people in the West Coast tend to forget that there's a whole country to the east of
That
it.
it's not just California. Yeah.
You have responsibilities. You do have pressure. People do rely on you. And if you screw up, not a innocent screw up. Even innocent screw ups have consequences. But if you do a screw up that is preventable, that you have every tool in your disposal, you have to deal with what comes from the people on top.
I guarantee you talk to those 4 people. I'm sure they're glad they didn't get fired. I'm sure they need those jobs. Like, even when he says, people are paying for college because these are young adults still paying off a lot of stuff and chasing their dreams, and you're putting them at jeopardy. It just doesn't make sense. I'm actually very proud of the internet because it did steer more toward, guys, he's right. And I think it's because it's December. We're tired of this lockdown. And if you still can't do the basic recommendations for COVID, we cannot agree on what those recommendations are, but if you have the basic, Mike, I need you to wear a mask and use hand sanitizer, and you still don't do it, dude, that is not okay.
And this is what I've never understood about the mask hating, especially when it comes to going into a private business or going into a grocery store or something. We're talking about people's money. This is a country that loves capitalism. We're about capitalism. We started a podcast network.
Yep.
We're all about fair capitalism. But with that being said, if we're about that, you're causing people, and I'm talking about everyday people, you, by going into Jewel, could cause an outbreak, cost people money and jobs that are trying to work. So I've never understood this thing of hey, we had people out there working. You are the hindrance to it. And if we can't agree on people getting paid and trying to make that as safe as possible, then I don't know where we're at as a society. And this is a point in case where somebody could have got fired. Somebody probably deserved to get fired.
They probably did at this point. And he's not talking to children. He's not a coach yelling at children or in college sports. These are grown adults refusing to apparently follow a rule. And again, they still only got a warning. Yeah. They still get to keep their jobs. They got yelled at. That is the worst thing about breaking the rule multiple times in a multi-billion-dollar industry where, let's be real, someone will jump at that job in a second.
And I just think there's also a difference. He wasn't talking down to anybody.
Nope.
He didn't use any derogatory words. He didn't use any offensive words. Yes, he swore to a room full of adults.
It sounded real. It sounded like, no, this guy's upset.
And he didn't say, fuck you.
No.
He said, you're fucking gone. There's a difference to it. He did not attack anybody, but they made mistakes. Is it complicated because it's Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Tom Cruise. But anybody who's had real jobs, has gone through this. And I love most of my bosses I've ever had.
Yeah,
we've all had heated conversations because guess what? When you're all invested in something and it goes wrong, people get heated because guess what? We all don't have this family fortune from Los Angeles, or we don't have that access to it. We're all part of the real world. So I think what Tom Cruise did, maybe it got people a little startled, but I think he was well within his rights. I'm interested to hear what everybody else has to think, though. Let us know on Twitter at GoodBrothersPod. But Good Brother, any final thoughts on kind of the Tom Cruise drama?
No, I think, again, maybe it is a generation thing, but to be fair, we're in the younger generation, I would say, compared to a lot of our other
contemporaries.
Yeah. So I don't really understand people okay, are you upset he yelled? But again, that's part of life. And again, it wasn't an isolated incident. It wasn't the first time. This isn't March. If it was March, I'd be singing a whole new story. But bro, you got to ease up, man. They just got used to this.
Yeah.
It's December, man. I have to do it. You have to do it. Anyone working has to do it. Especially working with a bunch of people like I do, where I have to work with hundreds of people a day. They're basic rules, man.
Yep.
And look, guess what? Our boss had to yell at members of our staff about pulling the mask down. And he's like, you can't play with this. He yelled. And I was like, he's right, guys.
He's right. Yeah.
He's right. I don't feel bad for the people he yelled at because I'm like, you got to follow the rules, guys, or else you don't have to be here.
Because the rules are blatantly stated.
And again, we're not arguing which rules should be here and do you agree with those? We're arguing if that's the rule.
Like that,
if Mike's door says, hey, wipe your feet, wipe your feet. Simple as that.
Speaking of simple, Good Brother, simply put, Disney might have saved the movie industry, might have saved the theater industry because they had their investors meeting their investors. I guess we would call it extravaganza because they gave us a bunch of awesome news. Good Brother, I'm on the awesome website from the awesome people of The Verge. I have a bunch of all the listings. You want to just kind of want me to go through them and we'll talk about them, or do you have something specifically you want to talk about the entire kind of the entire convention thing that they had.
Well, it wasn't a convention. It was a stock, it was a stock call, which, that's more business orientated. They obviously
technically speaking, because so that we frame it correctly, it was the investor day for Disney. So the investors.
So it's not like a DC fandom where there's a lot of little side things and docs and everything. I thought it was good. I like a lot of the stuff coming out. Disney has a tendency to really announce 100 things, and if you get 60 of them, you're going to be happy. I do think it was a bit much where a couple of things definitely got buried and didn't get the excitement I was hoping for.
Like Kaz Andor didn't get any love.
It was just weird. Like some things hit, some things didn't. It was a little long, but that's fine. Beside the announcements, I think it's big. I think to my point of that, they're very adamant of, we're going to go back to movies, guys. We're making movies still. We have Black Widow ready, and we're still not going to release it. When, again, if this was HBO, different, but it's Disney, they easily could have done it.
But then they put Amy Adams and Tom Hanks with two big properties onto Disney Plus.
They both could get it. I think what we're going to find out, Mike, is both of us are wrong, and they're going to be like, screw you, we're going to do both. We're going to have A and A1, and that's it. So guess what? You are going to see The Lion King 2 in theater. You're also going to get to see a Pinocchio on this. You're going to see Aladdin 2 on Disney Plus. You're also going to get Toy Story 5 in the theater. So maybe it's one of those of like, man, maybe they could have it all.
I think they're just, for stockholders' reasons, they're telling people we have eggs in both baskets. That's what I think it was.
I think they truly have eggs in both baskets.
Maybe they do, but I think before all that, because you don't know. Nobody could know if we're going to be in theaters next year.
Yeah, true.
So, but you know what you do know? We can tell people we are, and that way we don't have to worry about stock falls. Yeah. We don't have to worry about crashing anybody's market.
And again, our huge debate is, will Lion King 2 be in the theater? I will quadruple down.
It's been quiet too, though. We got a lot of news about a lot of different things, and it's
quiet's
a quiet
good.
thing.
Quiet's good. The longer we wait, the more I'm going to be right, Mike. That makes, if I would have heard news on it, I would have been like, damn, Mike's going to be right. The fact that I didn't hear it, I'm like, man, they won't even start working on it. Hopefully, we're in theaters when they start working on it. I'm going to win this bet. When Mike has a child, I'm going to point to Mike's 1-year-old son and be like, kick your daddy's ass in this bet, dude.
I hope
Let's go watch Lion King, little brother.
I hope so, but I'm a little worried the way everything's going on, the way that AMC does not seem to have money after January.
Someone's going to buy it with money. Disney.
Maybe. But again,
China buying movie theaters like crazy, and that's always a sign of what's going to come this way.
We'll see. I mean, I'm interested to see how this is. We got the first look of Loki. That looked cool.
Looked really cool, really interesting. Did a good job of feeling different, and man, that's a good vibe.
WandaVision, super excited for.
Already.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
More excited about. Same. I love those two together.
Hawkeye, fun.
Excited.
Haley Steinfeld, I like her.
We love MCU. We're stands.
What if? I can't wait to see zombies.
Yeah, zombies will be fun.
Oh, we're going to see Ironheart on Disney+. Moon Knight, obviously our boy. She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. They got casting. Obviously, we know Oscar Isaac. We talked about all that. We know Guardians of the Galaxy is going to have a holiday special. Heck yes, for that. Due out in 2022. We know that they're going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 around the same time. So that should be interesting. There's also a I Am Groot series coming out. Wanted to talk about this one, though. That is a segue into what I think was very big news that nobody's talking about, and a lot of it is because you said there was a lot of news dump. They will not recast the late Chadwick Boseman's King T'Challa in Black Panther 2, directed by Ryan Coogler, which is still set to come out July of 2022. What do you take from that?
It's 50-50. I don't know. I think it's either way, you weren't going to get everyone because it was such a 50-50 discussion of, well, he's an important character, and we understand it's a tragedy, but we do need a recast. Or, well, technically someone could take the mantle, and we can push forward other characters that be new heroes. So I was torn with it. I think it's a 50-50. I think as of now, it's better not to recast. I think you can go forward without it at the moment, but I do think eventually you should. MCU is very young. I think as a business, you don't necessarily... You need the Black Panther, the whole movie. I don't think necessarily, because we don't have a Chadwick Boseman Black Panther, we're not going to make $1 billion. I don't think that's true. So I feel like for now, it is okay to put someone else. They have a lot of good actors in that movie that we all, everyone went to their own person in that movie. You push those people forward a little bit. And maybe in 10 years, it's very young. MCU's young. You recast, you start... doing a couple. One day, someone's going to play Iron Man that's not Robert Downey Jr. Someone will play Captain America, that's not Chris Evans.
Yeah.
So I think eventually, but as of now, story-wise, I don't need them to recast.
So some interesting casting, or should we say announcements, was that Doctor Strange will be in the Multiverse of Madness, obviously his own movie, some WandaVision connection, and he'll be in the third Spider-Man movie. So
Tell the audience, Mike, why they didn't talk about Spider-Man?
because he's a Sony product.
Thank you. Because some people, I think, were a little confused of why we got no news. That's not theirs, technically, so
Yeah.
there's no news for them to give.
But that's why they didn't give us the news of the character they did own being part of
And
the
also,
Universal
isn't it a coincidence that we got a lot of news Spider-Man the day before?
Sure, exactly.
Like, guys,
yeah.
it's there's so much they can do.
Finally, for all the Marvel marks that have been waiting for this moment for a long time, it is official. It is in development. It is happening. It is in the love and caring hands of Kevin Feige. Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel's Fantastic Four in development as we speak. Obviously, there's no real news. Casting will come down over the next few months. I just think it's nice to have the original Marvel family back home.
I
think that's where the X-Men come in.
I think it's a big. I still don't think we get X-Men for a while.
Maybe,
I
but-
think this is what's going to hold us over for another 6-7 years.
Maybe.
Like I said, Mike, the X-Men movie you'll see will be where your 10-year-old child probably.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's how long it takes to get away from Hugh Jackman.
Exactly. So that's I feel that I love the Fantastic Four. I did like the original two, but we were young and it was a different time.
Yeah.
We liked a lot of stupid things. I hated Fan Four Stick, the second half especially, because I'm like, man, this is a really good first half. I'm really into this.
Oh yeah,
It was heartbreaking because you are really excited. We all saw it together. Train? Yeah, and then once they get their powers, we're like, all right, let's get that.
An hour in, everybody, and I'll never forget. John Schnepp was the one in his review. He's like, "You're gonna watch the first hour and be like, oh, this is a really good movie," and then it hits, and we're in the movie theater, like, holy shit!
Like, probably the hardest dip I've ever had in a movie was that one.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I'm very excited. Casting is what you're really excited about this movie because you have 4 big casting decisions you have to make, and obviously people want what they want. But I'm just excited to hear the direction they want to go.
Let's go into Star Wars. You know what? Let's save Star Wars because that will go into our Mando preview and review. Let's go down really fast the rest of what was going on. Baymax is getting his own show. Zootopia Plus. I mean, we got a bunch of stuff coming down.
A lot of good stuff for kids. A lot of good stuff for everyone.
One that I had no idea I wanted to do this as a voiceover guy. I had no idea I wanted this as a dream job, and Captain America himself got it. Lightyear.
That looks so good.
So hyped for that. That one is going to be wonderful. What else we got? Luca, Lightyear. There's a bunch of other stuff that's coming. Your face. I'm sorry, son. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We'll be getting a few more seasons.
They will be now
FX.
the longest running live action sitcom.
Alien is getting a series on FX.
They
so
announced that they will be making adult programming,
Great.
rated R programming
Wonderful.
for Hulu, and
so
it's exactly what we thought.
Yes.
But at least it's nice to hear Disney say it because that always is the fear of like, man, are we going to lose a lot of these properties we love? And they're like, no, we're still working with the algorithm. We're going to figure out so like kids can't get to this. Or maybe you're going to do, little logins like Netflix does. Like, guys, we're like 8 months old. Like, we got this. Relax. We're going to get you all your programming. You still get Fargo.
Yeah, no kidding. Encanto from Lin-Manuel Miranda. So he's giving another.
He's my favorite human being ever.
So obviously we saw what's going to happen with the Pinocchio movie, with the new Enchanted sequel, and with the Little Mermaid, all going to Disney Plus. And then we saw some news of things going to.
It's funny that the Little Mermaid just announced, like they basically copy and paste it. I'm like, didn't we already know all this casting?
Yeah, we
did. I was looking. I'm like, okay, maybe someone got cast. Oh wait, no, this is the exact same news.
Yes.
So they're like, oh yeah, remember we told you earlier this year? Well, here it is again.
Yeah, no, it was
weird. It was the only one that I was like, huh. You didn't give us anything. You didn't even talk. You talked about it, but you gave us nothing new. So that's odd.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting. They are, again, they're making sure that their assets and that their investments are spread apart so that they're not all in on one and nothing crushes them. I think they put enough good properties that could potentially go to movie theaters and potentially still stay on Disney Plus, just enough where there's some good they could go either way. But good, brother, I want to talk about what I think, as wonderful as Marvel was, as interesting as the Pixar Disney film stuff was, we need to talk about Star Wars and what Lucasfilms is bringing us. We'll start off with the big one. Indiana Jones, officially now in production. They're in their final one, come out 2022, they're saying.
Yeah, man, just
please, Harrison Ford, be safe. Everything else, whatever.
He's just so old at this point. What do you really? And then, like, it's the fact that they're really adamant about like, no, this is his movie. I'm like, guys, he's really old. Like, what do you think he's gonna really do?
Yeah, Willow. So that's gonna be fun. I mean, that's not for us, but it's fun that they're bringing that in. Let's talk about Star Wars though. Lucasfilms. Some of these freaking names. Rangers of the New Republic. Andor, we've been talking about that one for a while with our boy. Mandalorian. Lando getting his own series. So, and that is going to be our boy Glover. He is going to be...
Well, no, he's not officially signed on at the moment, actually.
Okay.
So there's a few rumors going around that this might be a flashback series that we're going to get both Landos. There was rumors they're going to recast Lando.
Okay.
And that we might... There's rumors about that, but I think they're working on a deal, obviously. That's the low thing.
I love Donald.
I love Donald Glover, too. I really don't think it works without him.
I
agree. Which is why I think they announced it, because they're really close to making a deal. I think it's going to be a lot of money. I think they have a lot of plans for him, and he's already in that Disney family.
Let's talk some more fun stuff. How about Rogue Squadron? Patty Jenkins. Hype.
That one got me the most hype, and it made me flick you off and be like, man, dude, I'm like, they're making movies, bro. Like, do not tell me they didn't make this commercial and say, hey, Mike, we know you say we're only going to be a streaming service. Go F yourself, dog.
This is one where I'm like, I hope I am so wrong, because to me, the idea of seeing that woman direct a Rogue Squadron, even if it's not about the book, just the idea of knowing what we know about.
We already know it's not. It's her own. It's going to be her own thing.
You're telling me we get Top Gun, but with Star Wars,
exactly,
except better? All in.
Which is probably your and mine, like, if not our favorite, one of our favorite things besides, Jedis and lightsabers is the starships, is them fighting in these
fighting.
like
in the sky.
And pod racing.
Yeah, pod racing. Let's talk about a little bit. Ahsoka, she's getting her own series. Excited to see that because we're getting more Jedi stuff. Awesome.
It was one of those where, like, they don't want to say it official, and then Rosario Dawson kills it, and they're like, we knew it the whole time.
These are the two I want to talk about the most. Let's talk about the one that is going to be being made that isn't done yet. The Acolyte. Just the title, just the premise, sold. Love it. I mean, we're talking about the bad guys.
We're talking about a bad guy-led movie.
But holy crap. We thought everything was awesome. We know everything is awesome. Hayden Christensen, who got a bad rap, was pretty bad in Attack of the Clones. I think redeemed himself in...
I thought he was cheeky.
Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan Kenobi will have Darth Vader in its series. To me, like, Mandalorian became the new GOAT standard of Star Wars since Empire and Return. Obi-Wan Kenobi can now become the saving grace of the next 40 years of Star Wars for all generations. What Mandalorian did for marketing and for profit, I think Obi-Wan Kenobi can do for film, for like television. Not, like, we love Mandalorian. I'm talking about classic.
Yeah.
Top tier Deborah Chow with a Ewan McGregor. I mean,
and possibly we're gonna get Qui-Gon. We're gonna get Darth Vader. We might get Ahsoka. And we already know it's a limited series of like 4 episodes, I believe. And so basically, you're gonna get a 3.5 hour movie.
I'm talking True Detective level.
Yeah,
like as much as we love Mandalorian,
this is like Watchmen level, possibly.
To me, that's what I feel.
I want to correct one thing you said. I think old school fans. I think Force Awakens just belongs on that list. Like, even if my opinion, I think when we talk about everyone loved it. Last Jedi is a separated thing. I think everyone loved Force Awakens.
Yeah, everybody enjoyed.
I think everyone loved. I think we all hate that because I think everyone loved it at the time. And don't tell me they didn't. It's the last two really soured you so much on the first one, and I get it. But at the time, let's not have the people weren't crying in theaters. People loved that movie. They loved it. They didn't care if it was the same thing because Star Wars is always the same thing. You know why? They don't say Mandalorians, it's just a copy and paste. Well, yeah, basically, but of the good stuff. So, like, I'm just saying Force Awakens should be put on that top tier list. If we're just going to talk about people's opinions, I think the last 2 movies, which I loved, soured them. But I think Force Awakens gets a little forgotten, a little disrespected. So put some respect on their name, guy.
Yeah, you say so. I unapologetically love Revenge of the Sith. So
yeah, let's be honest. A New Hope's not great.
No, I'm not letting you get it. Yes, it is. It's fantastic.
It aged terribly.
No, it hasn't.
It's not even one of the 3 best Star Wars. Force Awakens is a better New Hope. Empire's better. Return's better. Last Jedi's better. Rogue One's better.
That's like saying Resident Evil 2 Remake is better than Resident Evil 2.
It is. No,
it's a better ran version. It's a glossier version, but without a New Hope, it literally is the foundation on most action coming of age stories since the 1970s.
I think it's one of the hardest one to watch.
I'm gonna fight you. We got to run through this show because we've taken enough time gushing around Star Wars. At the end of it, did Disney say movie theaters good, brother?
Yeah.
Speaking of Star Wars, let's gush for a little bit about Mando. One of the greatest endings of a television show ever. A great callback for fans that pay attention to small details. I think it was Bill Burr showed off like some chops that I didn't know, and I love Bill Burr. Like I'm a huge Bill. I had no idea.
I'm a huge Bill Burr fan, and I think when people when they saw King of Staten Island, because it was the only movie out, and people were like, "Man, he has some serious acting chops. Like he's not just
he's good
funny.
at Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and like he's not just like he can do serious work. And Bill Burr is such a great character. You can say whatever you want about anyone in this world. Like that's your opinion, that's your prerogative. But as an actor, I love him. I thought he was so passionate, so funny, so real. I do think it's funny when people complain about accents, but I'm like, it's space, guys. Like we don't complain about British and you know this white guy having a real deep black man's voice.
What's Mando's?
Spanish.
Is it?
I would say.
Does Pedro Pascal really have like a thick Hispanic accent?
I would say if it's going to lean anywhere, yes.
Maybe.
But
like,
it's not thick enough to bother people.
But like to me, it's close to our planet Mexico. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
I hope.
nobody gives shit to nobody gives
churros.
Nobody gives a shit about like what his voice sounds like. Yeah. What's Darth Vader? So Darth Vader's Hayden Christensen, but he's James Earl Jones?
That's what I'm
Come
saying.
on,
like we're telling me this little white boy is the voice of this giant, larger than life black man?
Come on, Mufasa, stop it.
Like,
stop
okay,
it.
like relax those people. Like have some fun.
I love this series so much. I'm so hyped about this freaking ending. I love that he's a proud papa. I just think,
man, dude, he's coming for his kid.
Ass.
He's like, that's my boy.
What's up with this thing about Boba Fett's armor?
What about it?
They say they changed it.
No, he cleaned it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he cleaned it, and people were just weird about it.
I'm like, it looks
obviously
the same.
he a little thicker. He a little thicker man than he used to be in the armor, guys.
But I think he looks better as a thicker, like tribal chief.
Again, he grew up. Yeah. Like I don't want the armor to fit the same because he doesn't look the same.
Do they leave that as the mystery of all mysteries and hope nobody asks? But we'll ask 15 years from now on whatever the version of internet is. How did he get out of the Sarlacc pit officially in canon?
No, I think we'll find out eventually.
Okay,
and it's going to become canon soon. Like I said. I think he might be that Ranger show. Like we talked like there's a lot of these shows that we don't have a lot of details about. Like we always say, they announced 10 things. We'll be lucky to get 6 of those. He's going to be part of one of those. They want Boba Fett to be in something.
So why the Good Brother keeps saying like we'll be lucky if we get these? Remember, we were supposed to get a Rian Johnson trilogy.
We're supposed to get we were rumored to get The Hut by Martin Scorsese. Yeah. And that was huge. Jon Favreau, before any of this happened with Mandalorian, was doing a Boba Fett movie.
Yep.
Like we got to
Yeah, we got to. We
remember.
Stay here.
Rian Johnson was supposed to have a trilogy. He's probably not going to get a trilogy anymore.
How does it end? Mandalorian this season.
I don't. You know what? I think like The Boys. I think it's going to end on a nice little walk. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to show us like, no, we're here for the long haul, guys. Like you had fun this season, right? You liked every episode. Every episode got better than the other. This one's going to be great. We're not going to leave you with, I think like last year, like you don't need to leave us with something crazy. I think leave us with something chill and fun. Because at this point, besides showing Luke Skywalker or something.
Do we get a Luke?
No.
Okay.
And that's what I'm like, I think beside that.
A Luke moment?
Nothing crazy. You already showed us Jedi. You showed us multiple Mandalorian. You gave us Boba Fett. You showed us everything. There is no more.
Now it's story.
Full.
Yeah.
So unless it's Luke Skywalker, I'll make room for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm ready.
I agree with you.
I'm going to stay up very late and watch it.
Does a Han Solo ever show up in Mandalorian?
I hope not.
You sure? You sure about that?
I don't know.
I'm not talking about Harrison Ford. I'm talking does Han Solo ever show up
as the movie Solo's #1 fan in the world, and I think it's one of the top 5 Star Wars movies of all time. Very underrated, better than Rogue One.
You're full of shit.
I hope so. I don't see again. I got room for Solo.
I only bring it up because
I got room for anyone in the original trilogy. How about that?
It makes more sense that Solo would appear in something that has to do with Mandalorians and that Boba Fett is in than Darth Maul being in a Han Solo movie.
That makes sense.
You see what I'm saying? Like to me, that makes more bookie sense than the other way around.
I thought that was cool.
Good brother. Speaking of booking, let's get to tables, ladders, and chairs.
Do we have to?
Yes. New Day takes on the Hurt Business for the Tag Team Championships of Monday Night Raw. First, before we pick the match, what did you think about Big E's new song?
I like it.
Big E wins the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania?
Yes.
Who do you got?
Royal Rumble.
Who do you got at this match?
Hurt Business.
Hurt Business. I agree.
Yeah, because New Day at this point shits tag team titles, so this is the purpose. You want the Hurt Business to have all the titles, so when Bobby Lashley when he loses the U.S. title and goes for the heavyweight
The world
champion to be
title.
Drew's next opponent,
Sure.
he might be the one you're like, man, he could actually do it. I don't think he will, but I think it's all set up for them to have the gold, like Black Evolution sort of thing,
Sure.
which I'm all about because the Nation, as good as it was, never really held gold like that. I'd like to see the Hurt Business hold the titles. Like, I think that's a power status.
Let's insert this right here before we move forward. What are your thoughts about the news that everybody's freaking out about the development of people going back to WPC?
I think Bubba says it right where, man, like, we love Keith Lee. We love Keith Lee.
Yes.
But
Seriously.
I understand that as he's gotten up there, he hasn't looked the same. And, you know, it's different. Like, again, you're trying to be a star. And I love the way he says it. It's like, well, if he, like, you're not going to change the system for one guy. So the guy's going to have to change it. Like, it's fine. I think the best thing is, like, guys, they don't get the same reps either. So, like,
that's the big
they
thing.
need to go get some reps. Like, I tell my kids, like, you're not only going to get a practice, like, you're going to have to put an extra practice before the practice. And you don't have live events. You don't have a lot of things. So him fighting on main event, that's not a demotion. No, he needs some reps.
So all these guys, for the most part, and
Big
all these
boys.
ladies, and the big boys, but what I'm getting at is they got to that level because they know to put in that hard work.
Yeah.
But even within that level, there's even more work you have to be put in to become that extra 1%.
Which I think the names on that list show that, like, dude, I think you can be
That's
that 1%.
exactly it.
I don't want
Yes.
you to be another guy. Like, I think you can be the guy. So go and hone your trade a little more.
They're not sending some of these other people. Like, I don't see them sending Tucky
Yeah,
down there. Like,
exactly.
They're not
Great example.
So, in my opinion, does it look bad? Yes, because everything Vince and
But
WWE
again,
looks bad.
it all comes down to, like, this isn't really news. Like, no one really had to know this.
This is the difference, though, when you're trying to get to this level. They're not just trying to make good wrestlers. They're not just trying to make good champions. They're trying to make stars.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns will be a movie star in 10 years.
Drew McIntyre, they sent him away. He's a star.
Big E.
Yep.
Like, there's The Miz. Like, you think they
Say
care?
what you want about The Miz, but guess who's on every
Everything.
article?
You think, and WWE loves him because he's so if Keith Lee could figure out what The Miz does,
He'd be perfect.
He'd be perfect for
Mark
them.
Henry had a great career after
Brock
being sent
Lesnar
back.
is a star. The Undertaker is a star.
Yep.
There's a reason why they love AJ, but AJ is never like, and they make him go through a lot of different stuff. But there's also a difference.
Yeah.
Like, there is a ceiling of AJ where it's like, they're not putting him on Good Morning America.
Well, not only that, but AJ's the top of, like, if you're going to be the wrestler,
That's it.
and like Daniel
Yes.
Bryan and AJ Styles,
That's it.
But they're the top of the top.
And
You're not gonna-
Rollins.
you're not. Even Rollins is in that middle. That's what I'm saying. You're not those guys. Like, there's still a sense of star power and talent to those guys.
Yep.
You have the talent. I don't think he does have the star power on that level just yet. And maybe we do need a crowd, obviously. Like, it's hard to build talent. But look at someone like Damian Priest. I think Damian Priest is more ready for the main roster than Keith Lee is.
But I don't think he has much star power as Keith Lee.
yeah.
I think he has a lot of star power.
I think, like, his character and the way he does things, I think he's more ready. Like, you put him on TV, I could see them pushing
Yes.
him faster
Yes.
because he puts that speed compared to Keith Lee, where they're like, it's not where we want it.
It's, to me, when LeBron and Carmelo both got drafted, where LeBron will always end up being the better guy, but that one season, Carmelo
Yeah.
was more ready because he was more ready
Exactly.
for that given moment.
Yep.
And I think Damian Priest is, a.k.a. Punishment Martinez, the guy that we've known forever, is more ready, has the look,
Good old Puerto
gets
Rican
it,
kid.
gets it to be the Rock. He lives his gimmick. What is Keith Lee? Keith Lee is a big teddy bear that could beat the shit out of
Well
you.
spoken. He has a presence, but a presence isn't enough to be a star.
But Damian Priest knows he's a star.
got machismo.
Acts like a star. Works like a star. And it's nuance. It's little things. So to me, I get it. Do I wish Big E and Keith Lee can magically both be champions at the same time? Absolutely. And it has nothing to do with SJWs. We love them. They're beefcakes. They power live.
Yeah.
I mean, did you hear what Paul Heyman, that promo he cut with Big
Yeah.
E? It was fantastic. So let's get back to these picks so we can wrap this bad boy up. Sasha Banks defends the title against Carmella. Who you got?
Sasha,
She's a Mandalorian. We have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and probably Lana, but maybe somebody else for the women's tag team title
Yeah, I don't know who they're gonna use
because they took out Lana.
Yeah,
in
I
injury.
don't care. Like,
Charlotte?
Why can't they have a separate program?
I don't know. Charlotte,
No.
Peyton Royce,
No.
Mandy. I mean,
I don't know. It's gonna have to be maybe Nikki Cross.
does Nia and Shayna win this one though, right?
I hope no, because I think they're gonna split them up. Because I think they got to split this up already.
The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton.
Fiend.
I'm gonna go Fiend. If it's the Fiend, I'm gonna go Fiend.
Yeah, let's gonna do something crazy. It'll be fun.
So let's do the the wrestling portion of the main events. Drew McIntyre defends the WWE Championship against AJ Styles in a TLC match. Who do you got?
Drew McIntyre.
I got Drew McIntyre as well. And in the story championship match, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a TLC match for the Universal Championship.
Both our TLC matches awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously Roman Reigns.
I agree. Roman Reigns. They're gonna all be fun matches though.
I think it'll be great matches.
So WrestleMania. Let's make our quick prediction. What's the main events for each show?
I don't know. I think Royal Rumble's going to tell us that.
There's one. Yes, there's one that I really like that I heard is for SmackDown. It's Goldberg versus Roman.
And Roman just annihilates
Probably.
him.
But for Raw, it's Brock, Drew, and Keith.
I don't think so.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the only other option is just Brock versus.
No, I know. I don't.
Drew.
I don't think Brock comes back without an audience, so I don't think he's back anytime soon. I don't think you see him. You're not going to see Rock. Again, I don't see like if WrestleMania was in November, maybe we talk. The fact it's in April, like you're not going to see the audience they want for a Brock Lesnar or The Rock. Keith Lee obviously is going to send down back to the minors at this point. Like I don't think this is. Vince McMahon has never done this, so I don't think it's one of those. Oh, we're getting him WrestleMania.
He said
not
this is Big
WrestleMania
Show.
ready.
Oh, okay,
not
yeah.
Not like WrestleMania ready.
Yeah.
Like you're more likely to see Biggie go for a heavyweight champion than see Keith Lee. So I think Keith Lee will be lucky to be on the card. Honestly,
Interesting.
Lucky to be
Okay.
on. If I had to guess, Keith Lee's going to be in a battle royal. I can't tell you, man. I really couldn't tell you.
So Goldberg Roman seems to be the thing though, unless it's The Rock.
Again, do you use? I get Goldberg. You can probably use without a crowd.
Yeah, I think so.
He does what, like one match a year? You can do that, sure.
Yeah. And I think at that point they're just looking for subscriptions.
I'd like to see Roman and like Jay again. That'd be fun.
Jimmy or
Jay,
yeah.
whichever one. Whatever
Yeah,
one. With
that'd
the
be
twin
fun.
that does the good storytelling.
Yeah, that'd be fun, but we'll see. Good brother, any final thoughts on this episode?
Nah, dude, wrestling's boring right now.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
always that lull before Royal Rumble, and then we get to WrestleMania push. It is December, but it's a COVID December, so it's even worse. Where it's like, man, these storylines, TNT with the whole Shaq thing. I'm like, nothing interests me. Even Sting, because I don't like Sting that much, didn't interest me.
It's going to be interesting though to see how this starts playing off with WrestleMania season around. Are they going to be in a big stadium? Are they just going to do Tampa Bay? Are they going to just what is the plan?
I don't know, man.
I agree.
Ask me January
4 months.
21st.
I don't know what's going to happen in 4 days.
Dude, I don't know what's going to happen the day after January. Like, that's what I tell every single parent that asks me a question. I'm like, at January 21st, everything can change.
Maybe.
So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's a complete possibility that everything we've been doing under a new administration completely changes. So
we'll see.
I can't tell you. Maybe let's just get through Christmas.
Yeah. Good brother. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of The Good Brothers. Make sure you're following us all over the universe. He's on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram, Mercado2121. I'm on Twitter at Mike at Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media. The show is on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Like, rate, review, and shares wherever you get your favorite podcasts at Mercado Airwaves. We have swag this holiday season.
Go and get yourself a When in Doubt Mercado t-shirt.
Teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves and become a producer of the show and the network at Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. For the good brother himself, Alex Mercado.
Adios.
I'm the good brother, Mike Mercado. We'll see you in the next episode of The Good Brothers here on the Mercado Airwaves
Network.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves.